Hello, my name is Owen, and welcome to a quick review of Derek Bailey's Umbrage. What I want to do is give a brief overview of the book's about, tell you things that worked, and tell you things that didn't work. Before we get started, as a quick disclaimer, Derek Bailey's a friend of the channel. You have to know that. He's everyone's favorite indie author, and he did send me a free copy of this short story collection. That being said, I'm going to give it to you straight for your benefit and for Derek's as well. But there's nothing to worry about because this book is a load of fun. After reading Voidwalker Chronicles, his other short stories, serialized short stories in the summer, one of my feedback was I really like the real life stuff as opposed to the more like supernatural dream world stuff, and that I felt like some of the stories kind of felt a little cyclical in that story, where it was fall asleep, enter a dream world, wake up, be confused, fall asleep, enter dream world. This one is procedural like that. However, I think it's done in a much more engaging, much more satisfying way. This story is about a high school student who basically learns that she has the power of an oracle. She can see crimes before they happen. It's kind of like That's So Raven, but the stakes are death instead of like Raven like falling into a vat of cheese or something like that. It's been a while since I watched that show. But what Derek does really well he has like it's these short stories, and they're very like enclosed, right? So each short story is going to be she sees someone about to die, and the quest is to, with her friends, try and stop the death. And then it ends with she's successful, and then we move on to the next one. And very easy stopping points at the end of each short story. And at his recommendation, I did pace myself. I didn't just blast through these because a lot of these are very, very short. You could read probably the entire book in a day, I'd say fairly easily. But after each break, I did take a break. Either read it, like if I read it in the morning, I would read the other one at night, or I'd wait even to the next day. And I don't know if it was necessary for this book, because I'd say compared to Voidwalker, each one is different enough that I think if I would have binged it, it would have been completely fine. But what I really liked about these stories, without giving any spoilers away, is that it starts off with you see the death, you solve the death, you see the death, you solve the death, and then it's you see the death, but there's a twist to how she sees it or how it's playing off, which makes it a little bit more interesting. And then as you're going through, she sees multiple deaths at the same time, and then it's increasing stakes, it's increasing complexity to what's going on in the plot, as well as like the mystery of the town of Umbrage at the same time, which keeps it fresh and it keeps it entertaining. And I think because I know I don't read a lot of short stories, to be honest, but I think what Derek is trying to do is fairly unique in the sense that like he wants to write short stories, but he wants to create this building narrative. Like I know Voidwalker was pitched as kind of like a Netflix series where it's like episodic, but it does build, it has that threading narrative. And I think that formula of short stories that are really kind of connected into one book is starting to flourish in this particular entry of Umbrage, and I think that, like I said at the very beginning, it's so, or did I say that? I don't even remember. It's so much cleaner in this one, and it is so amazing just to watch an author kind of refine their craft a little bit in the journey of a relatively new author. I think this is your third one, Derek. Help me out. This is your third official author thing. But it's improved in almost every way. And I think if you're keeping with this formula, the only major improvement that I would recommend is, and I think I said this for Voidwalker too, I think you could afford to go into a little bit more depth. I do like how short they are. I do like how easy breezy they are. But in this one, I think Umbrage was driven very heavily by the plot. And in that case, I think the characters, they didn't really get maybe as much depth or multifacetedness as the main character of Voidwalker did, which was something that I really, really enjoyed with that book, but maybe wasn't as present. You're dealing with more characters in this one. You're bouncing around a lot more, so that makes sense in that regard. But I think that if this was more fleshed out in each individual story in terms of character, the plot is strong enough on its own, but I think it would grip you a little bit more. And then I think in a book like Umbrage, where the town itself is such a major character, I think that same rule applies. I could have used a little bit more setting building, atmospheric, just just not descriptions, but just tone setting, because this town of Umbrage is very mysterious and it's very foreboding, and there's like this overarching sense of like almost dread, or I felt, with all this mystery, and everyone's getting murdered all the time, and like what happened to her mom. I think we could have used a little bit more setting building, like people looking at her too long, or just to add to this like era of or aura of mystery. And the other thing too is, as this collection ends, the mystery isn't entirely solved, which leaves it very much open-ended for a sequel to further explore these societies hidden in this town, and really uncover and break open this mystery. And it's very easily setting up a sequel, but then I saw at the end, you're not even sure if you're gonna write a sequel. So you better be writing a sequel, because I think that you're leaving a lot on the table there in terms of this mystery of this town. And I would just hope in the next entry we're getting more information about the town, and like we're developing these characters as well, because the plot structure, its pace, its rhythm was very, 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 very much improved from the last one, and I found it very enjoyable. Very, very easy read, and you said in the beginning you wanted it to be fun. It absolutely was fun, and I had a grand old time. If you guys want to check it out, I'll put the link in the description to the book. I recommend you do check it out. Like I said, it is a lot of fun, and I think it's a unique structure for a book, this way of building, and I think you're on the way to perfecting it, Derek. And send me more, please, I'm begging you. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like the video, want to see more like in the future, and as always, thanks for sticking around.